The classroom door slammed shut with a metallic echo that shook the walls. A tiny alien child hovered a few inches above the floor, eyes glowing like twin stars, trembling but fierce. Sparks of psychic energy danced around the room, throwing shadows that twisted into shapes no one could name. The teacher's hand hovered near the child's shoulder, voice calm yet urgent. "You're not alone. Not anymore." Outside, a distant roar rumbled through the space station. Something massive, something coming. Morning light from a distant blue star filtered through the transparent walls of the Coalition Academy. Inside the vast station, students from many worlds moved through bright corridors, their voices mixing in dozens of languages. Tall reptilian cadets walked beside floating gas beings. Small insect-like scholars carried glowing tablets. The academy was meant to be a symbol of unity. Yet one corridor remained almost completely silent. Security doors lined the walls there, thick and reinforced with glowing energy seals. Two armed guards stood at the far end, watching the hallway with careful eyes. A hovering drone floated above them, its sensors scanning every movement. Most students avoided this place. At the entrance to the corridor, a human woman stopped and looked down the long passage. Elena Park adjusted the strap of her data tablet and took a slow breath. "So this is the famous classroom," she said quietly. One of the guards glanced at her badge and frowned. "You're the new instructor?" "Yes." "You should talk to the Academy Council again," the guard replied. "Assignments can be changed." Elena raised an eyebrow. "Why would I do that?" The guard exchanged a look with his partner. "Because most teachers don't last 5 minutes in there." Elena followed his gaze toward the sealed door at the end of the corridor. Behind that door was a single student. Prince Kaler. Across the galaxy, the name of the Zarathi species carried a heavy reputation. Their kind possessed powerful psychic abilities that could bend matter and shatter minds. Even adult Zarathi were treated carefully by the Coalition. Kaler was not an adult. He was only a child. And yet 3 months earlier, during a training exercise, something terrible had happened. The details were classified, but rumors had spread fast through the academy. Energy waves had torn through an entire wing of the station. Security drones were destroyed. Several instructors were injured. After that day, the young prince had been placed in isolation. A classroom with reinforced walls. No other students. No regular lessons. Just observation. Elena stepped forward. "Well," she said softly, "someone has to teach him." The guard shook his head slowly. "You don't understand. The boy isn't normal." "Most children aren't," Elena replied with a small smile. The drone above them hummed as it scanned her again. The guard finally sighed and tapped the control panel beside the sealed door. Energy locks disengaged with a heavy sound. "Good luck, teacher," he muttered. The door slid open. Inside, the classroom looked strangely ordinary. Rows of empty desks stood under soft white lights. A large display screen covered the front wall. Books and learning tools rested neatly on shelves. But there was only one student. He sat alone near the far window. Kaler looked smaller than Elena expected. His skin had a faint silver tone that shimmered under the lights. Thin glowing patterns ran across his arms like delicate lines of light. His dark hair fell across sharp, thoughtful eyes. He could not have been older than 10. Yet something about the air around him felt tense. The boy watched her carefully. He did not speak. Elena walked slowly across the room and placed her tablet on the teacher's desk. "Good morning," she said gently. No answer. The boy's gaze remained fixed on her. She pulled out a chair and sat across from him instead of standing above him. "My name is Elena Park. I'll be your teacher." Still nothing. Silence filled the room. Outside the glass wall, Elena noticed 2 security drones quietly hovering in place. Watching. Waiting. She leaned forward slightly. "Your classroom is very quiet," she said. Kaler's voice finally appeared, low and cautious. "That is the point." His words carried a strange echo, as if another voice whispered beneath the sound. Elena nodded thoughtfully. "I see." The boy tilted his head a little. "You're not afraid?" It was not a question. Elena smiled softly. "I've taught children from 12 different species," she said. "Fear doesn't help learning." For a moment, Kaler looked confused. Everyone else was afraid. His eyes shifted toward the empty desks. They never stayed long. Elena noticed his hands resting tightly against the table. The glowing lines on his skin pulsed faintly. "You must get lonely in here," she said quietly. The boy looked away toward the stars outside the window. "I am used to it." Elena stood and walked to the large display screen. "Well," she said lightly, I think we should start with something simple today. She activated the screen, bringing up a rotating map of the galaxy. Bright stars filled the classroom with soft blue light. Kaler's eyes moved toward it despite himself. Have you ever studied Earth? Elena asked. He hesitated. No. Then today you will. She pointed at a small blue world spinning slowly on the screen. That is where I'm from. The boy studied it silently. After a moment he asked, Why are you here? To teach. That is not what I meant. Elena met his gaze. Kaler's eyes narrowed slightly. You know what I did, he said quietly. The lights in the room flickered once. Very slightly. Elena remained calm. I know something happened, she said. The air grew heavier. Kaler's glowing markings brightened. You should leave, he whispered. Outside the glass wall, the security drones shifted position. Elena did not move. Instead she spoke gently. You're not a monster, Kaler. The words hung in the air. The boy's eyes widened slightly. And then the room trembled. A low vibration passed through the floor. Lights above them flickered again, stronger this time. Outside the classroom, alarms suddenly began to howl across the corridor. Red emergency lights flashed. The drones spun toward the ceiling as warning systems activated. Kaler's hands gripped the edge of the table. His voice shook. I told you to leave. The glowing patterns across his skin flared brighter. Across the academy station, power systems suddenly surged. And deep within the boy's mind, something powerful began to wake. The vibration in the classroom grew stronger. Elena felt it through the floor first, a deep trembling that seemed to move through the metal bones of the station itself. The lights flickered wildly above them. Outside the glass wall, red emergency signals flashed across the corridor. Kaler stood suddenly from his chair. His breathing was fast. His glowing markings burned brighter across his arms and neck, spreading like lightning under his skin. I can't stop it, he said, his voice shaking. The air around him rippled. Books slid slowly across the desks as if pushed by an invisible hand. A chair lifted a few inches off the ground and slammed back down. Outside the classroom, security drones rushed toward the door. Their metallic bodies whirred loudly as they locked weapons into position. A voice echoed through the corridor speakers. Containment alert. Psychic surge detected in Sector 9. Kaler's eyes widened with panic. They're coming again, he whispered. Elena stepped closer to him. Hey, she said calmly. Look at me. But the boy's gaze was fixed on the walls as they trembled harder. A deep cracking sound echoed from the ceiling. Energy sparks flashed along the reinforced barriers. Elena had read the reports before arriving. Zarathi emotions could release powerful psychic waves. Fear made it worse. Isolation made it uncontrollable. Right now the child in front of her looked more terrified than dangerous. Kaler, she said again more firmly. The boy flinched as another surge shook the room. I don't want to hurt anyone, he said. It just happens. The glass wall facing the corridor vibrated violently. Security officers gathered outside, their armor glowing with shield generators. One of them raised a weapon toward the door controls. Elena Park, a harsh voice came through the intercom. Step away from the subject immediately. She ignored it. The teacher slowly moved closer to the boy. Kaler stared at her in disbelief. You should run, he said. Running won't help you, Elena replied quietly. The floor suddenly lifted beneath them for a moment, as if gravity had loosened its grip. Desks rose into the air and floated slowly before crashing down again. Kaler cried out, clutching his head. I can hear them, he shouted. Hear who? Everyone. The glowing lines across his body flared brighter, filling the room with sharp silver light. Outside the door, the security team prepared a containment charge. The officer spoke again through the speakers. Teacher, evacuate now. We are initiating suppression. Elena felt a cold chill. Suppression meant forcing the prince unconscious. It was dangerous for a mind already losing control. She stepped directly in front of Kaler. Listen to my voice, she said gently. The boy's breathing was wild. His eyes darted around the room. I can't shut it out, he whispered. All the thoughts, they're loud. Elena realized what he meant. Zarathi minds could sense emotions and thoughts nearby. With so many people panicking outside the classroom, the noise inside his head must feel like a storm. Then focus on one voice, she said. He looked at her. Mine. Another powerful tremor hit the room. The ceiling lights burst, showering sparks across the floor. Yet Elena stayed where she was. She lowered her voice. Take a breath, she said slowly. Kaler stared at her like someone drowning. Just one breath, she repeated. He tried. His chest rose shakily. The floating objects in the room wavered. Good, Elena said softly. Outside the door, the security officer shouted. Psychic levels increasing. Kaler's control slipped again. A shockwave burst outward, throwing desks against the walls. The drones outside fired stabilizing fields toward the classroom. Blue energy grids spread across the walls. But the room kept shaking. Elena reached forward carefully and placed one hand on the table between them. Look at the map screen, she said. The galaxy map still glowed faintly on the wall display. Find the blue planet again. Kaler forced his eyes toward the screen. Earth rotated slowly in the projection. Focus on that, Elena said. The boy's breathing steadied slightly. For a moment the shaking slowed. The security team outside hesitated. Then suddenly every light in the corridor went dark. The emergency sirens stopped. Complete silence filled the hallway. The officer looked up in alarm. Why did the alarm stop? Inside the classroom, Kaler's head snapped upward. His glowing markings dimmed slightly. What is it? Elena asked. The boy's face had turned pale. I can feel something. The air in the room became strangely still. Outside the window, distant stars shone quietly. Kaler's voice dropped to a whisper. It felt my mind. Elena frowned. What do you mean? The boy slowly looked toward the darkness of space beyond the station. His eyes filled with fear. Someone heard me. A moment later, the Academy's central system suddenly activated again. But this time the voice of the station AI sounded uneasy. Warning. Unknown signal detected entering system range. Security officers outside the classroom looked at one another in confusion. What signal? One asked. The AI paused briefly. Then it answered. Origin, deep space. Inside the classroom, Kaler's hands trembled. They know where I am now, he whispered. Elena felt a cold weight settle in her chest. Who knows? She asked quietly. The boy swallowed hard. And far beyond the Academy station, hidden in the dark between stars, several unknown ships began to change their course. They were heading directly toward the Academy. Kaler's voice shook with dread. They're coming for me. The alarm roared through the Academy, shaking the walls with a deafening clang. Kaler's glowing markings flickered nervously, casting sharp shadows across the room. Elena grabbed his hand instinctively, her grip tight and steady. They're here, Kaler whispered, voice trembling. They came for me. A shadow passed across the observation window. Metallic shapes, sleek and angular, drifted in space, their hulls reflecting the distant stars' cold light. Elena's heart pounded as the ships stopped just outside the Academy's outer defenses. Unknown vessels, the AI intoned, its voice clipped and tense. No registry. Highly advanced. Threat level, extreme. Kaler's eyes widened. They can feel me. They know I'm here. They know everything. Elena led him to the corner of the classroom, away from the glass. Then we stay calm. We think. We survive. He shook his head. Calm? You don't understand. They're hunters. They don't negotiate. A loud metallic thump rattled the hull of the station. The floor beneath them shivered violently. The Academy trembled under unseen force. Drones swarmed near the outer walls, their energy shields flashing as they met resistance. Teacher. Kaler shouted, panic rising. I can't stop it if they breach. Elena knelt down beside him, lowering her voice. Listen to me. You've controlled storms before. This is no different. You just need to focus. Kaler swallowed hard, eyes darting toward the window. He felt the presence outside like a living weight pressing against his mind. A psychic resonance, sharp and precise, burned like fire across his thoughts. They're scanning me, he muttered. They want my power. They will take it. They'll? His voice broke, trembling under fear. Suddenly the lights in the classroom cut out. Darkness swallowed the room, broken only by the flickering of Kaler's glowing veins. Elena held her breath. Outside, the shadows of alien ships moved silently, sliding through the blackness like predators. Then a loud crash shook the doors. The outer shields wavered. Security drones fired pulses of energy at invisible forces outside. Containment breach imminent, the AI warned. Kaler pressed his forehead to the wall, trying to shield his mind. They are inside the station. They moved faster than anything I've felt. Elena clenched her fists. Then we fight smart, not just strong. Look at me. You can protect us if you focus on the people around you, not them. He blinked, a flicker of understanding crossing his terrified eyes. His chest heaved as he tried to push back the psychic waves of fear and aggression the hunters were sending toward him. The room quivered with energy, objects sliding and spinning as the invisible force pressed in. Outside, a new sound joined the chaos, a deep, resonant hum, low and vibrating through the station. The walls vibrated, the lights flickered violently, and for a brief moment, it felt as though the station itself might shatter. "Elena," Kaler whispered. It's changing. I feel it. Something new is here." She frowned, her mind racing. "What do you mean?" Before he could answer, a massive shadow loomed in the corridor outside the classroom. The glass walls shuddered as a figure pressed against them. Its shape was alien, long-limbed, armored in dark plates that glinted under the flickering emergency lights. It didn't speak. It didn't move like a person. But its eyes glowed, a sharp, piercing red that seemed to see straight into Kaler's mind. He froze, white-knuckled. It's one of them, one of the hunters." Elena gritted her teeth. "Then we don't hide. You control the room. I'll handle the rest." Objects in the room began to lift again, books spinning, chairs sliding, a desk teetering on the edge of the floor as Kaler's fear and focus clashed. Elena kept her voice calm. "Breathe. Just like before. One voice. What? Follow me." Kaler's breathing slowed, just slightly, but the red figure outside began to tap on the glass with impossible force. Cracks spidered along the surface. "Elena, they are breaking in." She grabbed his shoulder, holding him steady. "Then we make a choice. You can control the storm, or the storm will control you." He clenched his fists, veins glowing brighter than ever. The air crackled around him, energy humming with raw power. With a trembling shout, he directed it, not at the hunter outside but around the room, pushing the flying debris into a protective shield. The alien outside recoiled slightly, its red eyes narrowing. But more shadows appeared behind it, dozens of figures moving with silent precision. They were not alone. Kaler's chest heaved, sweat pouring down his face. "There are more than one. So many." Elena's jaw tightened. "Then we prepare. They don't know what humanity can do when we stand together. Focus, Kaler. Focus on protecting, not fearing." He stared at her, a spark of determination flashing through his panic. For the first time, the storm of his mind felt almost like something he could shape. Almost. Outside, the hunters were no longer just scanning, they were forcing their way in. The first strikes of energy hit the outer barriers. Sparks flew, alarms screamed, and the station rocked violently. Kaler's hands glowed, and his voice rose in unsteady power. "I won't let them take me." Elena gripped his shoulder tightly. "And I won't let you face them alone." The first of the hunters pressed their claws against the glass, eyes glowing red. Kaler's energy surged, pushing the objects around him like a protective storm. Then a deafening crack split the air as the glass wall finally gave. Elena and Kaler were thrown back, the classroom erupting into chaos as shards of reinforced glass tumbled around them. Kaler screamed, his power flaring uncontrollably as Elena shielded him with her body. Through the chaos, the alien's eyes fixed on them, unblinking, and from the corridor beyond, dozens more shadows advanced. Kaler gasped, They're inside." Elena's mind raced. "Then we run, and we fight smarter than they expect." Outside the shattered wall, the dark silhouettes of hunters pressed forward, their intentions clear, and Kaler's storming energy clashed violently with the first wave of predators. The room shook. The lights exploded. And somewhere deep in the corridor, a voice, cold, alien, and merciless, whispered, "End of the lesson, human. End of the prince." Kaler's eyes widened. The hunt had truly begun. The corridor reeked of ozone and fear, the shards of broken glass scattered like frozen stars around Elena and Kaler. His storming power hummed, still crackling, feeding off the chaos, but it trembled under exhaustion. The hunters pressed forward with precision, their movements unervingly silent despite the carnage around them. "Elena, I can't hold it much longer," Kaler gasped, sweat streaking his glowing face. His chest rose and fell like a trapped animal's. "You will," Elena said firmly, gripping his arm. "But we need more than raw power. We need to know what we're really facing." Kaler's eyes darted toward the dark end of the corridor, the shadows of the hunters flickering in and out of view. They want me. But why? Why me?" Before Elena could answer, a sudden pulse of energy hit the wall beside them, throwing them off their feet. Sparks flew and a section of the ceiling collapsed. Dust filled the air, making every movement heavier. Through the haze, a new figure emerged, a tall, humanoid alien with armor that shimmered like liquid metal, eyes glowing in icy blue. Elena, Kaler whispered, recognition mixed with fear. It's him. My father's envoy. The truth, he's here. The alien spoke, voice resonating in the chamber like a low hum. Prince Kaler, you do not understand your own history. You are not merely a child of your people. You are a key, a weapon. A storm the galaxy fears. Kaler staggered back, eyes wide. Weapon? Storm? What do you mean? Elena crouched beside him, voice calm but urgent. Then tell me everything. Now. The envoy stepped closer, his blue eyes piercing through Kaler's panic. Your father was not just a ruler. He harnessed psychic energy to protect the galaxy, but in his absence you were hidden. The hunters were sent to reclaim the power he left in you. They fear what you might become if left free. Kaler's hands glowed faintly, trembling as if afraid to obey. So, all this time, they weren't attacking just to capture me, they wanted to control me, to use me? Yes, the envoy said, voice steady. And they will stop at nothing. Every world they have touched in pursuit of you is a warning of their reach. Even here, inside your sanctuary, they have found you. Elena's eyes narrowed. Then we have no choice. We fight smarter, not harder. Kaler, you have to trust yourself. Trust your instincts. Kaler swallowed, energy flickering in pulses across his skin. I don't know if I can. They're everywhere and I can feel them in my mind, twisting, testing me. I've never felt anything like it. The envoy reached out a hand, resting it lightly on Kaler's shoulder. That fear, it is your guide. Your power feeds not just on strength but on clarity. You must understand yourself before you can control them. Kaler's chest heaved. My father, he never explained anything. He left me alone. His voice cracked, a mixture of pain and fury. I just wanted someone to teach me, to help me. Elena's hand found his, squeezing it gently. Then I'll be that someone. Right here. Right now. But you have to listen, Kaler. Your fear, your anger, your confusion, they are your allies if you let them guide you instead of control you. Outside, the hunters adjusted their strategy. Their silhouettes shifted, forming a tighter ring around the academy. Energy beams flared through the corridor, cutting arcs of glowing light that illuminated the dust in eerie patterns. One hunter moved close, testing the boundaries of Kaler's defenses, but froze as he felt the envoy's presence. Kaler turned, eyes meeting the alien's icy gaze. Teach me then, fast. I can't. His voice faltered as a surge of psychic pressure slammed into him, nearly bending reality around the room. Objects spun, lights shattered, and the floor trembled beneath them. Elena steadied him. Breathe. You are stronger than you think. Feel the fear, yes, but let it sharpen you, not paralyze you. The envoy spoke again, quietly, almost gently. You are not alone. Even in the storm, you are not alone. Remember, your power is not just to destroy but to protect. Your father's legacy is not a weapon, it is a shield, and you are the heart of it. Kaler closed his eyes, trembling as energy surged, then stabilized slightly. For a moment, the chaos around them slowed, like time itself had inhaled. The hunters outside hissed, sensing the shift. I think I understand, Kaler murmured. Not all of it, but enough to fight back, differently. Elena nodded, voice firm. Then we act now. You protect, I lead. Together we turn this tide. The envoy stepped back, watching silently. Choose wisely, Kaler. Every action now ripples across the galaxy. A sudden alarm blared, a sharp, cutting signal from the station. The hunters had breached the lower deck. They were advancing faster than anyone anticipated. Kaler's glowing veins flared brighter. He clenched his fists, turning his fear into focus. Then we end this, their way, my way, or not at all. Elena steadied herself, eyes scanning the corridor for exit paths. No turning back now. Brace yourself. The first of the hunters reappeared through the smoke-filled hall, larger and more armored than before, claws extended and eyes blazing. Kaler's energy surged around him, a storm waiting to be unleashed, but this time it carried purpose, not just panic. And from the shadows the envoy whispered almost to himself, the child they feared may yet be the prince who saves us all. The hunters stepped closer, unrelenting, and Kaler took a deep, trembling breath. Elena's voice cut through the tension. Show them who you are. As Kaler's storm erupted around them, the first hunter screeched, and a shattering pulse of psychic energy threw the attackers backward. But a deeper, darker rumble echoed through the station. Something far greater than the hunters was awakening. Kaler's eyes widened. It's not over. There's something else. Elena gritted her teeth, pulling him forward. Then we face it, together. And in the shadowed depths of the station, an unseen presence stirred, far more terrifying than anything they had encountered before. The real battle was only beginning. The station trembled as the shadow in the depths moved, a massive form that seemed to absorb the very light around it. Kaler's pulse raced, his energy flaring violently, his small body shaking under the weight of the unknown force. Elena grabbed his arm, her eyes fierce. "Focus, Kaler. We're not running, we're taking control." Kaler's voice trembled but held determination. I can feel it. It's everywhere, like it's trying to swallow everything." Elena nodded, voice steady, even as alarms screamed around them. "Then we fight not just with power, but with our minds. Humans survive by thinking differently. You've got this. I know you do." The shadow surged from the depths, enormous tendrils of darkness lashing outward, crushing walls and sparks flying from shattered panels. Kaler's psychic energy met it head-on, a luminous storm of white-blue light, the air vibrating with the sheer force of will. His screams echoed in the hall as the collision rocked the station, sending debris flying. Elena sprinted toward a control panel, fingers flying across buttons she barely understood. "I can reroute the station's energy. We can amplify your power and contain it." Kaler's eyes locked on hers, glowing brightly. "Do it. I trust you." Energy hummed and arced across the station, the lights flickering wildly as Elena worked. The shadow recoiled as a wave of light met its darkness, screeching in a sound that cut into every bone in their bodies. Kaler felt every tendril of the shadow like a weight on his chest, yet he didn't back down. He focused on one clear thought: protect, not destroy. Protect Elena, protect the station, protect what little he could understand of the galaxy. The shadow lashed again, striking at Kaler with crushing speed, but he anticipated it, moving with precision no child or alien should have. His energy flared around him like a shield, absorbing the impact, and then for a moment, it paused. The shadow recoiled, hissing in a soundless fury. "You're stronger than it thought," Elena shouted, almost laughing through her fear. "Keep pushing, Kaler." Kaler's hands trembled, but he raised them higher, and a beam of pure psychic energy shot from his palms, striking the shadow directly. The station shook violently, alarms blaring as the shadow writhed, twisting and splitting in midair. Suddenly, a deep, metallic voice echoed through the hall, not from the shadow but from the station's AI systems. Human ingenuity detected. Recalibrating containment protocols. Elena blinked. "The station, it's responding to us. Kaler, this is your chance." Kaler narrowed his eyes, drawing every ounce of concentration. The energy around him pulsed, forming a sphere of light that expanded rapidly, pushing back the darkness, forcing it toward the deepest corner of the station. Every step, every flicker of energy was guided by instinct and Elena's instructions, a perfect combination of alien power and human strategy. The shadow screamed, a sound that tore at the mind, yet Kaler held firm. Sweat streaked down his face and tears ran unchecked, but he did not falter. I won't let you destroy what's mine," he shouted. Elena gritted her teeth, heart pounding. "Now, finish it." With one final surge, Kaler's sphere of light collided with the shadow, a massive explosion of energy that shook the station to its core. The floor buckled, walls crumbled, and for a moment, everything was silence. Then the shadow dissipated like smoke blown away by a storm. Kaler collapsed to the floor, trembling, drained beyond belief. Elena dropped beside him, wrapping her arms around him. "You did it, you really did it." Kaler's eyes were wide, glowing faintly, voice hoarse. I couldn't have, without you, without humans." Elena smiled, tears streaking her face. "We all bring something to the fight, Kaler. You have the power, we bring the strategy, the heart. Together, nothing can stop us." The envoy, who had watched silently from the shadows, stepped forward, bowing slightly. "I have underestimated humans, and you, Kaler. Your strength is not just in your storm but in your willingness to trust others. You have changed what I believed impossible." Kaler struggled to sit up, voice trembling with newfound confidence. "Then, we protect, right? We don't just fight, we protect everyone?" Elena nodded firmly. "Exactly. And we start here together." Outside the shattered walls of the station, the galaxy's night sky stretched endlessly, stars flickering innocently. But now, somewhere in the distance, forces that had seemed invincible would think twice. Kaler rose slowly, energy still flickering around him but steady, and looked at Elena. I'm ready for whatever comes next." She put a hand on his shoulder, voice gentle yet resolute. "And I'll be right here. Every step of the way." A quiet hum resonated from the station's core, a reminder that even though the shadow was gone, the galaxy held many more secrets and threats. Kaler's storm might have ended one danger, but the future would always test the strength humans and aliens could bring together. And for the first time, Kaler smiled, not with fear but with hope, knowing he was not alone, and that the combination of human courage and alien power could face anything the universe dared to send. The station lights flickered one last time, casting long shadows, and far beyond the void, unseen eyes watched, curious, cautious, and waiting. The real journey had only begun.